Welcome to She's the Boss, the podcast where female wellness entrepreneurs talk ambition, money, and ownership out loud. I'm your host, Lee McSwan, a certified holistic nutritionist turned wellness business coach. This is where conversations are unfiltered, the rules of entrepreneurship get rewritten, and nothing is off limits. Money, motherhood, friendships, legacy, wealth, power, and what it really takes to build a life and business on your terms. Let's get after it. Before we kick it off, I have a question to ask you. Why does your confidence seem to disappear the second someone asks you about your prices? Whether it's your offers, your services, your digital course, why does it feel like you choke? Maybe it even feels like you absolutely suck at sales or pitching yourself. Well, if selling your services feels awkward, rest assured you are not alone. Most wellness professionals were never taught how to sell. Inside Sales Confidence, you'll learn how to talk about your work, your pricing, and handle objections with ease. You can click the link down below this episode and make sure that you grab it within the next couple of days because early bird pricing is in effect. Sales Confidence, it's in you. Today, I'm joined by Robin DeLorenzo, the founder of the Safe Mama Project. Robin's work was born from lived experience. After her daughter was injured at what was meant to be a routine wellness visit, everything in her life and her family's changed. Robin found herself navigating a reality that no parent ever expects or is prepared for. Over the next 18 years, she devoted herself to understanding what happened, supporting her daughter's healing, and learning how to advocate, ask better questions, and make informed decisions in moments of uncertainty. The Safe Mama Project is her heart laid out in steps. It's designed to be a resource, a community, and a network that she wishes someone had handed her at the beginning for mothers seeking clarity, safety, and empowerment when something doesn't feel right. This is a conversation about maternal intuition, responsibility, courage, and what it means to trust yourself even when the stakes feel high and you're going up against an entire system. This is a really beautiful conversation, one that I hope every mother can tune into with openness and appreciation for the work that Robin is doing and the incredible amount of courage that it takes to do so. All right, let's dive into it. Robin, welcome to She's the Boss. How are you doing today?
I am amazing. Thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm also amazing. It is a great day over here. The sun is shining, it's warm, and my energy is basically a 10 out of 10 right now. So I'm excited to kick off this episode with you today. My first question for you is, what book have you loved the most over the last 10 years and why?
So a book that has made the most impact on my life has been The Untethered Soul. And the author is Michael Singer. I am about to go into my fourth time reading this book. The first time I did it in Audible, in the car, running around, and I found myself constantly rewinding because I was like, wait a minute, I just missed something that I need to catch. And so the last couple of times I got the book, I got the journal, they have cards. So every day I pick a card to see what my day is going to be set on. And so, yeah, it's a deep book. It allows you to just dig into who you are. And I've done a lot of healing because of it. And it's allowed me to see clearly, not only myself, but people around me, because we're affected by what people do, how they treat us, how we react. Sometimes we don't think that they're also in their own shoes. And so this book allowed me to realize I'm in my shoes, that you're in your shoes, and, everybody's on their own journey. So that's the book everybody should probably read at some point in their life.
Okay, you've inspired me. I downloaded this book not too long ago after somebody in my mastermind had recommended it, and I'm yet to start it. But when I go for my afternoon walk, it's going to be the book that I'm playing. So thank you for that reminder.
That is totally a God wink as far as I'm concerned. When stuff like 100%. That happens, it just confirms for you that you're in the right place. Yeah, good. Keep me in touch with that.
Oh, I absolutely will. It's definitely meant to be a book I'm supposed to read right now. I think that's the sign, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Robin, take us back. What are you doing in your business? What led you to what you're now doing? What were you doing before that? Give us the whole backstory. Let's
Oh
kick
my
this off with a bang.
gosh. So this is actually a really huge year for me. I just had a birthday a couple weeks ago and I turned 60. So when
Happy
you say give
birthday.
me
What
the
a
whole back,
milestone.
thank you. I
That's
know
so
for sure.
good.
But when you say give me the backstory, that's like, oh my gosh, where do we start, right? I had a great career in AT&T. I started there and then a lot of spin-offs, a lot of corporate moves, but stayed with the same company for about 15 years. Communications major in college, theater major, behind the scenes. So I did events and marketing and advertising and lots of fun stuff. Loved the job, lots of travel, really gave me the foundation for where I am today when it comes to business. It was the best training. I think that people miss out today because companies aren't like they were back then. We're talking late 80s, early 90s. They really invested into you, put training into you. So I have a lot of different certifications, and it really gave me the grounding for where I am today in business. Uh, got married, had a kid, and had to walk away. I made the choice to walk away from my corporate career because she was injured at a wellness visit. And it wasn't something I was ever prepared for because I walked in like any other mom and we walked out not like any other mom. And so she is now 19 and she is in college and she's doing incredibly well, but it's been 18 years of recovery. And so I stepped away from my corporate job, and the total goal was to recover her, to focus on her, and to give her what she needed. But at the same time, I had to work. I had to pay my bills. So it really forced me in the direction of entrepreneurship. And unfortunately, I was married, but things didn't gel anymore. The injury really just changed life. And so we divorced. I became a single mom. I think it was the best thing actually that ever happened for all three of us, truth be told, because I was able to focus on my daughter. He's working, he's doing his career. He's an amazing father, spends tons of time with her. But we would have crossed paths. And so it ended up being the best scenario because I focused on her. And getting back to the entrepreneurship, it forced me to take a look at our landscape, not only in my life, but what's going on in the world. Because when I worked at AT&T, technology was just coming out. We had products like simultaneous voice and data phones. And it wasn't like Zoom today where you can actually have moving video and it was stagnant, it was terrible audio, and so technology wasn't what it is. And so all of a sudden I found myself having to learn new skills and teach myself new skills on the computer, on social media, um, stumbling into the multi-level marketing world, which taught me a ton of more amazing skills because it forces you out there to talk to people and to build relationships. And that's what life is about, really, is just constantly building relationships, right? We get nowhere alone. And in all this time, I was recovering my daughter. We were trying to do the normal school route. She has autism and other disabilities that from the injury. So we tried to do the normal school route. Public school didn't work for us. We found a Catholic school. They closed down, unfortunately. But ultimately, it led us to a Christian school that I ended up being the marketing director for, set of keys to the school, was able to be there for my daughter every day. We had a hybrid learning schedule. I mean, this is God, because I could not have planned this at all. I was able to choose the classes that worked for her, that didn't cause her anxiety, that allowed her to learn. And then when she wasn't in the classes that did cause anxiety, she was with me. So we'd be in the car, we'd go to Barnes and Noble, we'd go to lunch. Maybe it was a half day and we'd go home. I found various programs, a brain rewiring program from Canada It's called Arrowsmith. Yes. Her name is Barbara Arrowsmith, and she is incredible. In fact, I just got chills up and down my arm just saying her name. So the program is not for autism, but we had some other disabilities, dyscalculia, which is the cousin to dyslexia. It's a number. And so I put my daughter in this program, and for like 2 years, and it really did a great job on a couple of things. And then it started causing too much anxiety. And at that point, we were at a turning point because the school wasn't really working. It was causing stress for both of us now. We were spending a lot of time in the car, trying to homeschool in the car, trying to, it was a lot. And I did a lot of praying. And I got a phone call from someone from high school that I hadn't talked to in over 35 years. And she said, I just saw a post on Facebook, saw your story, and you have to check out this program. It's in Massachusetts. It's part of the Autism Treatment Center, and it's called Sunrise, SON-Rise. They have since restructured. They're still around, and they still focus on autism. They recover. I hate to use the word cure because people get a little sensitive about that word, but they recover. And I've seen, there's a movie about the family that they made in the 80s. So she called me, let's just say it was a Monday. And by Friday, I was registered for their 5-day intensive that started the following Monday. It was another God wink. I went to this intensive for 5 days. I borrowed money. They had an angel donor. Again, God always on my shoulder there, watching us and guiding us. On day 2, not only did I know I found the right methodology, but I realized everything that I was doing for my daughter was wrong. Everything.
Oh, no.
Correct. We think, because this is what we're told, this is what we're offered. I'm not going to say what the courses are. Here's the methodology we use in the public schools. So this is what you're going to use, and we're going to force the kids to use it. It's like putting a circle in a square, right? And so I was doing all of these programs and all of these things, thinking I was doing the best for her. What I was really doing was creating so much anxiety, and it was all internal. It wasn't coming out, but it was. I just didn't realize all the little ticks, all the little things, all the little scratches, all the little picks. That was all the anxiety. Day 2, they showed this video. It was only 2 minutes long. I was weeping like a baby by the end, like halfway through. It's really hard to explain. It was 3-second clips of what a child with autism focuses on, what they see. So right now I'm looking at the computer and I'm seeing the whole screen, my peripheral, I can see all my stuff. But someone with autism, they see this little corner of your microphone. They're looking at the number 1 button on the keyboard. They see your nose. And so all of a sudden, excuse me, these blips, 3-second blips, I was so filled with anxiety from it. And I thought, this is what my daughter experiences every second of every day. And I'm trying to shove more stuff at her, and she's just shoving it down. Nothing's hitting. Woof, talk about light bulb moments. So the 5 days, that was the most impactful 5 days of my entire 60 years of life, not only for what I was about to do for my kid, but me personally, what it taught me about myself and the growth. It was just absolutely incredible. I was one of only 3 United States families out of 40 of us. All the rest of the families were from outside of the United States, which is really weird. I never really looked into why that is, but autism it's a problem throughout the world. So long story longer, I came home from this. Driving home, I already had the entire plan mapped out. 3 hours later, when I pulled into the driveway, pulled her from school, pulled her from every single solitary program she was in, anything that was structured. We set up her room. It was her room with everything she loved. She got to pick it all. And at this point, we're in 7th grade. So she can communicate. She can tell me what she wants, art stuff. And now she's in school for art, right? Music stuff, all the things. The only thing she wanted to remain in was violin. That was the only structure. And for the first 6 months to 8 months, we had no structure. There was no schedule. There was no bedtime. The only thing that was structured was food and working on the gut. And that was the important piece because the gut turns out to be the key to helping to recover someone with autism. But setting that room up for her and just allowing her to be, she was still seeing some of her friends from the Christian school. The girls just loved on her. And literally within 2 to 3 weeks, the parents, the teachers were like, "What are you doing? We can't even believe the changes. She just said hello to me. She just looked me in the eye. How does your daughter have eye contact when she didn't have it like 2 weeks ago?" It was not just the mom seeing it, it was everyone seeing it. And since then, I have recommended so many families go through that program. Excuse me, now they have a 9-month online because COVID. I was going to work with them and have them bring their program here to New Jersey, and then COVID got in the way. So that never happened because now they're online. And so they're more accessible to everyone. But that was the defining moment for my daughter's recovery. And in that whole time, I really couldn't do much with work. I was working with the MLMs and the multi-level marketings, right? Just paying the bills to keep the lights on. That's really what my goal was. And it wasn't until just recently that I started to think about, oh, what's next? Because once I started to recover her and she's getting older, we got to a point where she did school online through Liberty University online and self-managed and self-motivated and Dean's List and the whole nine. And now she's in college. And so the focus was amazing. It should have been where it was. But now I was sitting here going, oh, I'm not making enough to really survive. You know, I'm in debt. I have to figure out what my next steps are. And the Safe Mama Project came to my head. And I actually got the URL about 2 years ago. I don't even know why. Well, now I know why, but then I didn't know why. I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. I was like, the Safe Mama Project. Okay, I'm going to get that. And I'm still working on it. It's brand spanking new. I've created a little free 4 steps. You know, your child changed at the last wellness visit. What's next? Because there's no help.
That's right.
Mothers go through this every.
And people are alone in this. And I think this is such an important mission. Essentially, you were recovering your daughter from what, age 1 when she went for her well check?
15 months. 15 months. Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask, was it MMR? Like what were?
Yeah. It was the MMR. Yeah. I don't believe, so that's the end result culprit. But looking back, each time she had something, she had a reaction. But we are so brainwashed into thinking these reactions are just normal. They're not. They are vaccine injuries. They might be slight. It might just be a fever. They want us to believe it is to initiate this immune reaction when in fact it isn't. Our immune system is perfect from day one. We don't need toxins and metals and embryos and dogs, canine, bovine, monkey. There's a lot of ingredients in there that I didn't know. And what's funny, you look back, I didn't even talk about that piece. And that's really important because there is no help. And when it happened, it was immediate. It wasn't like 3 days later, or myself and my husband at the time in the room. The second it punctured her, the scream that came out of my kid, I could cry just thinking about it right now because it was ungodly. It was like I had never heard that come out. It was guttural. And I looked at that nurse and she picked up her tray. right out the door.
Really?
And so that's when the first little hair goes up, right? Now my kid is screaming, the door is shut, and we're in this office, and she doesn't even want me touching her. She's not even there. She's not even looking at me. And she's burning up on the spot. And so then someone else comes in. I don't know if it was a doctor or whatever. But at that point, I'm like, okay, we're having something here. She just gave her the shot. And they were like, no, had nothing to do with the shot. They are safe. Your daughter was probably getting sick before, and it just made it worse now. So we don't want any of our patients to get sick. You got to go. And when you're in that state, you're not thinking that anybody's lying to you. And I'm going to use that word because now I know that I was lied to. It happened to me. But at the moment, you're not, because these are people you trust. These are people that they know. We've put them on this pedestal. So if they tell me my daughter was getting sick, well, they must know. All right, we got to go. Well, we get to the car and she's literally red. She's burning up. And I look at her eyes. They are not bright blue. They are literally changing color in front of my eyeballs. And now I'm freaking out because I'm like, I call them up and I said, I'm coming back into this office because there is something wrong here. No, don't you come back into the office. You take her home, you give her Tylenol, put her in a cold bath. Now, looking back, they gave her Tylenol before the shots. And when I look back at the other times we went, because I spaced things out, right? Because one is better than three. Well, guess what? One can do the same injury as three. Spacing out does nothing. Because the ingredients are not good for the body. By the time we got home, I was awake. So we're talking
That
25
quickly,
minutes.
Yeah.
25 minutes. Between the phone call and the next time I went into the office, which was like 3 days later, they called me an anti-vaxxer. And that's when I knew. The nurse said, oh, the anti-vaxxer's here. And I looked at her and I said, you just gave my daughter a shot 3 days ago. What do you mean? I'm not an anti-vaxxer. What are you talking about? Well, you're questioning, she says to me. Yeah, I'm questioning because my daughter's been screaming for 3 straight days. She stopped breastfeeding. She doesn't look at me. She's no longer doing sign language, and we had almost 50 words. So, yeah, I'm asking questions. They didn't kick me out of that practice, but they kicked me out of that practice, just like they do to people today. But today they're very vocal and forceful about it. They don't hide behind it. Back then, that was still, 1986, they put that new law into place that gave all the pharmaceutical companies freedom of all liabilities. And they had all these, and it happened because they had all of those fad shots, created millions of dollars of injuries. They would put them out of business. So they create that. And then they went crazy with all these shots. And it was such a thing going on. And they were still in the place of, you don't know what you're talking about. You're a mom. We didn't have the internet like we do today. People can make fun all they want. You're a Google doctor. Yeah, you better believe it. You better believe it. Because I've got screenshots of stuff that can prove that we have been misled and manipulated and not told the truth.
I think the biggest and most crushing thing for me to hear is, first of all, the lack of accountability and the lack of validation for what your reality is. Nobody knows their child better than the mom. That is a hill I will die on. We know the second I can feel my kids' energies before they walk through the door, and I ground myself and prepare for how the day is going to unfold from that moment forward when they step through that threshold. And so, first of all, I am just so sorry that you had to experience this level of almost harassment, it feels like, where they're calling
Yeah.
you names, they're dismissing what you know to be true,
To be true.
and they're in no way offering support.
At
And
all.
not only that, they're justifying things. She must have been sick. You have to leave because now she's a contagion that we can't control. And
Right.
it's not surprising to me that you had that awakening within 25 minutes of feeling every single one of these very real, very heavy attacks on you as a mom, as a mama bear, and as
Yeah.
fierce protector of your child. And so it, it's no small feat going against the grain and calling these things out and bringing awareness to it. And before we dive into the work that you've more recently started, how do you find the confidence? How do you find your voice to
Mm.
say this is an injustice and I'm not going to shut up about it?
Yeah. God, I don't have an answer other than I have such a deep rooted faith. I am very grounded in who I am. I've gone through a lot in my life, more than most people, that set me up to be able to handle this. In order to be able to speak about it, I just I just had to do it. I'm trying to think like and go back to the time and feel what I felt. I was angry once I realized what was going on. I started speaking out from anger. I was so mad that I was lied to, that my daughter was hurt, that they took away. I don't know what they took away from her because I don't know who she would have been. I know who she is today, and she's brilliant and she's amazing, and I love everything about her. And having this conversation with her is really difficult because she says, "But God loves me, and He made me this way." Right? So there's that fine line too. My truth is not her truth. It is, but it's not today. And so there's that fine line. But as far as talking about it, I started working with Melaleuca. It's a US manufacturer. They've been around for like 40 years. We couldn't use shampoo. We couldn't use soap. She would get these impetigo breakouts all over her body. I couldn't touch, brush, or wash her hair from the time she was like just after the injury. So let's say 15 months old until about 4. Her hair was so long, but I couldn't even bring a brush to it. She would just stand under the water, and that's how we would wash her. And so I had a friend that was like, I know that you've had so many problems. I know you've given up. I know you're just using water, but take a look at the store. So long story short, I did. We started shopping at this store. I don't even know where I was going with that point. The skin and stuff. She had so many sensitivities that we couldn't even shop at a normal store. We just, and so when I would call the doctor, any doctor, it's a couple times I called our original pediatrician. No, it's, maybe it's impetigo. It's probably from the products you're using. It's not from her body, but it was from every single product we were using, right? So when I finally found this store and she could use shampoo, she could use soap, she didn't get blisters in her mouth from toothpaste, right? Then I started realizing how much this really does affect everything. It's not just at the moment of injury, but it just carries through. And I'm going to bring this full circle back. All of these things made me so angry. And so when I started working at Melaleuca, one of the things for us to be able to get out there was social media. And these girls were reaching hundreds of thousands of people. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to make sure no other mother has to walk the 18 years I just walked. And I started an account. And I've had 4, maybe 5 accounts taken down now. I had a 1 million-person account on TikTok taken down. I had 100,000 account taken down there. I finally have an account with 70,000 followers. Mama Got Woke AF. I think the only reason it's up is because I made it as a joke. Mama Got Woke AF. And I was like, maybe if I put woke in the name, they won't ban me. They
And
haven't
here
been.
you are, still in
Here
existence.
I am. And it literally just rolled over 70,000 people. And so once I started doing videos, I was like, I'm onto something here. The algorithm really likes me and it likes what I'm doing. I'm going to do this. And when they took down that first account, I woke up that morning and I went to do my normal thing and it was gone. And then I really got angry because then I was like, okay, they are really fighting against any kind of truth. They don't want any truth to get out. I don't know why I'm not being bothered right now, but I'll take it. I'll take it. But, there's not one reason why I'm speaking out and why I'm so passionate. It's the whole situation.
Yeah.
The gaslighting, the brainwashing, the manipulation, non-accountability, the blaming of the mothers. And it's also hypocritical because one minute you're coming to us because we're the experts on our kids, and the next minute you're gaslighting us that we don't know what we're talking about because we're looking in Google,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
One minute you can look in Google. Go ahead.
And I just think the fact that you've grown these multiple accounts to such a magnitude every time shows that this isn't a one-time thing. This isn't an isolated incident. This is not one family's horrific experience. This is happening across the board. It does not discriminate. It is a global thing, like you said. And this really leads to a mission-based existence, but also business. And so talk to me about what exactly is the mission? What are you trying to accomplish? What is the goal? I'm sure it's many things.
Because I feel like because this is so new, I just went through another iteration on what I thought my first digital product should be, but it wasn't. And then I'm going through. So the bottom line is the mission is to get out there in front of moms and to help them get educated. So that's one mission. But with the Safe Mama Project, it's really after the fact. I didn't have anybody to help me. I knew of one mother and I called her because I didn't know of anybody. And I was like, and then I had a friend, Sonia, and that Sonia was amazing because she put me in touch with other mothers who had injured children. And then I was able to start creating a little group of support of my own. Mothers, I think, still don't have that today because they're still not admitting that we're even going through this problem. So with the Safe Mama Project, I don't know how I'm going to reach them just yet, because when you're in that place, I don't know if you're necessarily running to social media, but I want to be able to provide tools to help them. Just the little freebie is 4 steps of what to do, what not to do. Don't give your kid Tylenol, but we're told to give them Tylenol, and that's the first thing that they do. It's also the first thing that shuts the body down and doesn't allow us to detox naturally and blah, 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 blah. But it's got my learnings in it that had I had something like this, I would have done many things differently. But I didn't know. I was blind going through a hallway just trying to figure out how to help her. How do we stop crying, right? I had all the lights on. I had the TV on, not even thinking, right? TV's always on. TV's on. The lights are on. This is on. But really what you should do is you should shut everything down. Don't talk to your child. Hug the child. Warm bath. It's such a simple thing, but when you're in a time of crisis, you can't even remember your name. And then when you're calling your doctor and you're trying to get support and they're not supporting you, then you're really in crisis mode. So the goal and the mission of the Safe Mama Project is to let these moms know that there's support for them. And it goes into different levels. There's the emergency, the right now, the first 72 hours. And then I've got a healing guide that really explodes out everything that I did and what kind of doctors can you look at, like naturopaths and holistic stuff and, biofeedback. There's so many different types of medical intervention that's been around for a lot longer than our 1930 Rockefeller medicine, But again, it's another way that in our education, they have made us think that that's all witchy voodoo. And our medicine today is the end all be all. And it's not. Our medicine today is important. If I break a bone, I'm going to the doctor. Okay. I'm not going to take a homeopathic medicine for a broken bone. But if I have a sore throat, or I have a headache, or I have upset stomach, there are things I can do besides antibiotics, right? So anyway, getting back to the Safe Mama Project, I want to reach the moms that are in crisis. I want to build a community of moms that started in crisis, but together we very quickly got out of crisis. And we're able to help our kids recover. Because the other thing that the medical industry does not do is they don't admit that you can recover your child. They want these kids with autism to have autism for the rest of their lives. But they don't. I'm not saying autism is bad either. So it's a really touchy subject. My daughter has autism. I live with autism. I see how it affects her. It was caused in her instance. Some people believe that it is passed down. I am not of that belief, because I feel that simple mathematics can prove through the rates and the drastic growth we have seen. It was like 1 out of 150 just 15 years ago, and it's 1 out of 30 today. So if you just look at the simple mathematics and you were to back math, we can get to a pretty close starting point. That's my belief. Not everybody has that belief, and that's because we're not told the truth.
Yeah. And so the Safe Mama Project is really about bringing awareness and support in community. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And how important is community in a project like this is built on and flourishes as a result of community. But what does it mean for the mom who is in crisis, knowing that she's not on an island?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, for me, I can speak to me. I just had one mom that I could ask questions to. Like, I'm choking up here because there's nowhere to go. There's no section in the library for vaccine injury, right? And there's certainly not a book on how to be a good mom. And then when this comes into the mix, you try not to deal with the guilt, but there was like 3 months where I couldn't even almost function because I'm worried about her, and I'm trying to deal with this guilt that I'm feeling because I did not educate myself. That's the facts. I did not educate myself, and I don't want another mother to ever feel that way. Ever, and community, to know not only that there's someone there that understands, but that's that whole mentorship thing. We all need mentors in life. That's what helps us to grow and to get to that next place. And so in this particular instance, when you have a mentor to help you recover your child, it just makes everything limitless. It can literally get your feet off the ground and you feel like you can fly, and now you can do what you need to do. That's how I felt.
It's so important. And mom guilt is something that we can all relate to in some way or another. I remember looking back, it is comical to me, but at that time in my life, it was very, very real to me. And it was even before I officially became a mom. I was pregnant. And one time I decided that I was wanting some regular old greasy pizza. And I ate 2 slices of greasy regular pizza and I cried because I felt like I had ruined my unborn child with these 2 slices of pizza. My diet was so clean and I was trying to lay the perfect foundation. But back then it was a very real thing for me. And obviously it really isn't. And I can laugh about it now, but the mom guilt never really goes away, right? I wish I had of, why didn't I? How come I didn't pick up this piece of literature? Why didn't I talk to this person on their experience? How do we turn that off and just accept that the cards have fallen as they've fallen and we cannot change the past? How do we mentally become okay with that?
I think it's what you just said. Like, we just have to accept. In this instance, I was lied to. My mom was lied to. My grandparents were lied to, and their parents were lied to. We're looking at generational manipulation, and that made it real. Once I started looking at it that way, it doesn't matter how intelligent you are. You could be genius above genius. But if you are raised with certain beliefs, and at 40 years old, 35, whatever it is, you learn that those beliefs were based on fallacy and lie, you've got to forgive yourself. Yeah, I had no choice at that point, because it was like, wait a minute. If I could have made a change, if I could have done something differently with the knowledge I had, right? Informed consent, but I didn't have informed consent. And that's why informed consent is so important, because I would have made much different decisions. I definitely would have made much different, because I was already in the mindset, like spacing them out. So I was already kind of questioning. And so that's what I want to get across to other moms too. I hear that from so many. Well, I'm going to space them out. Yep, I did too. That means you're already on the path to waking up.
You're primed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's really important work that you do. Where do you envision Safe Mama Project going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, like big, like I'm going back to my AT&T days when I was planning conventions. I want to have a Safe Mama Project convention, conference, absolutely. That's the ultimate goal. I want these moms in a room, older moms, the newer moms, teaching each other, not only about the vaccine and what it could do to the body, but the immune system, the gut system, the lymphatic, like everything. It's all so important, and detoxing and deworming and all that. So I want to speak. I want to start doing speaking. That's what I did at AT&T as well. I go back to my corporate days because I see this. I see the possibility in this and the growth that it could be, because it is needed. And so I'm going to tap into my past experience, and I will take this where it's going to go.
Yes,
with
you
God's
will.
help.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
I work in the holistic world, so I'm no stranger to controversy and alternative things. And I'm not saying I get it right all the time, but I'm curious how you decide every single day to show up, to go forward with this mission, when I think vaccine conversations are the most polarizing conversations that one can have, above politics, above pro-life, above religion. I don't think there's anything that divides us more as a society than a conversation around vaccines. So how the hell do you get up every single day and decide, you know what, I'm going to face 90% of the world who disagrees with me. They're going to call me a tinfoil hat wearer. They're going to say my science is pseudoscience. How do you do it?
Yeah, well, we're up to wearing a full-blown bodysuit of tinfoil at this point. So I tell them they've got to get it right. When I first started these accounts, I made it a point to get in there and respond to every comment, bad or good. And I was like protecting myself, and I don't do that anymore. I wake up in the morning, and if I am not feeling energized to do something, I do not force myself to do something, because it means I need to re-energize, and it means I need to take care of my soul on that day. I'm really faithful, and I pray every morning, and I ask to be given the message that needs to be received. And sometimes it comes, sometimes many come, and sometimes nothing comes. I'm a very self-motivated person, and I'm really passionate. I'm driven from passion. So when I don't feel something, I'm not getting out of bed, right? But when I feel something and I have passion about it, nothing is getting in my way. And sometimes that's not so good, because I will keep going and I will not listen to my signals. And then I will have to take an extended period of time, because even though I won't go and respond to the comments, they're still coming across my notifications. It's still heavy content. There's still a lot of reality around it. And so I, like everybody else, I have to take some downtime sometimes. You know, sometimes I'll be in a frame of mind where I'll post 3 times a day for 5 months, and then you won't hear from me for a month, and
Yeah, you have to safeguard that energy, right?
you, you have to protect yourself.
I think a lot of people listening to this will be of the holistic minded community where, they are faced with this kind of backlash. And I know to some degree, being online, no matter what topic you're talking about, you're going to get people disagreeing, challenging you, basically highlighting their own insecurities on your comment section. Are you a fan of the block and delete?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I
I don't have time for it.
I don't play. I don't
So, okay.
play. Yes, I see the comments, and sometimes a comment will come through and it will hit me and it'll reach me, and I'll say, you know what? I want to respond to this person because I feel something here, right? I'm led to that comment. But most of the time when it's hatred like that, and it's mostly men, I don't get a
So
lot of hatred from women.
interesting.
Yeah,
So
I don't get a lot of
interesting.
hatred from women at all. And in fact, this Mama Got Woke AF account on Instagram is 90, I think either 92 or 93% women followers compared to men, yet the hatred I get is from unfollower men. So it's but no, I don't play. I block. You know what I like to do sometimes? I like to restrict them so that I can see that they're going crazy with their commenting, but nobody can see the 35 comments they put down. And then I
Oh,
block them.
that's funny. That's so funny. I didn't even know you could do that. Oh, what a
Yeah,
little
they have
internet
in
hack of the day.
only Instagram, they have a restrict button. So but that's very rare. I do that. I really, I don't like to get into that mindset because it leads you down a really negative place.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of discernment that has to come with choosing to block or choosing to engage with somebody because there are there are some people that their comment comes across as trolling or just being a jerk for the sake of being a jerk, but then sometimes you can read between the lines and there's curiosity there, and
Yeah.
those are the people that I choose to engage with or move a converse. I don't like having a lot of conversation in comment sections just for
No.
an
Yeah. Messaging.
organization's perfect. Move it into the
Yeah.
messages and also just bringing some humanity to the fact that, yeah, this is a public profile, but there's a very real human behind this, operating this with very real emotions and very real critical thinking skills. And if you'd like to rise up to that level and have a mature conversation and be open to learning something that has challenged your ingrained decades long beliefs, then let's go there. And I have had that happen. And I think that some of those people are the most open once you kind of
Yeah.
break down that shell from them. I've had
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
apologize to me in the past and even reflect back to me that it wasn't about me, it was about them.
Well,
And I'm like,
they
that's
were,
great.
they expect you to come back too, I
They
think
want to fight.
sometimes. And when you don't, when you come back and say, hey, I don't mind talking about this, then they're like, oh, wait a minute, she's not mean, or she's not being
Yeah.
nasty to me, or it's there's a lot of bots out there too. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
accounts that are just made to stir the pot. So that's why I don't think twice about, if I see somebody has 0 followers, they're following 20 people. I don't
Bye
even
bye.
bother with them. But you are
Yeah.
right, reading between the lines, because that's how we can reach people too sometimes. But
Yeah.
if they come in with the propaganda, if they come in with the standard little one-liners, I'm like, okay, you've made up your
Yeah.
mind, and not everybody can be awake.
Yeah. And that's okay. That's their choice. I don't
Yeah,
think it's about converting people. I really don't. I think it's about supporting those who need resourcing.
yeah,
And it sounds like that's what the mission is really rooted in. Um, this has been such an important conversation. I
I love this.
appreciate the courage that it takes to go up against, oh my gosh, where do we even start? The medical system, the government, like decades and
All of it.
decades of infrastructure that's been built on various businesses.
Brilliantly. brilliantly built and manufactured around every industry, from
Yes.
entertainment right through medical, government, every people ask me all the time, how do you think this happens? Like, you sure you're not a conspiracy theorist? Because you're saying that all these people could be in on this. But if you really break it down and you take a look at the facts, just start with 1930. We don't have to start in the 1880s. Start at 1930. If you are raising generation after generation after generation with a certain mindset, teaching them the same things, it doesn't surprise me at all that we could have an entire government run by these people who were raised this certain way with these methodologies and these mindset. And that's what we're up against. That's what
What
we're
you're
up
up
against.
against, and you're doing it for the mamas that are asking for your help and looking for that community. And I just applaud the bravery that it takes, because this is no small feat. It's really not. And I think there's always a reason that certain things happen to certain people. And I
Amen.
think that you were called forward to be a voice for the voiceless. And so I wish you all the best in this entire endeavor. And I wanted to circle back to something you said about, like, well, can I reach people? Are they searching through social media? I think it's the number one place moms go right now. I really do. So keep building that platform, keep
Just
building
keep
those
doing it.
resources, just keep freaking going, because somebody's life is going to be all the more better for the bravery that you've decided to own. So
Thank you.
so
Thank you
proud of
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
Oh
of
my
course.
gosh, thank you. You've made me feel
Do you think
amazing.
this gets oh do you think this gets easier with age? This confidence to do against the grain work?
I definitely think there is a certain amount of I don't give a shit anymore as you get older. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what they say about me. In fact, I run a group here in my town. It's got 10,000 people in it, and I run a tight ship. I don't like people disrespecting people. I don't like it. And so when people come in and they do that, I get them out of the group. Well, they've created like 3 or 4 groups in this town in my honor, right? And they're constant. I don't care. I don't care, because you have more people now looking up who Robin DeLorenzo is, and they're going to find my mission.
So thank you for the
So thank you.
platform, right? Yeah, way to see the
Yeah.
silver lining. I love that so
Yeah.
much. Robin, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting with you this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time and for, again, your courage and your bravery. It's very admirable. My last question for you is, what does it mean to be a boss?
Supporting others, helping people reach their ultimate goals, and making sure that they can be their best. So if I'm not surrounded with people that are better at things than I am not doing my job as the boss.
That is pure gold. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. This was awesome.
Thank you. I wish you the best of luck on this. I can't wait to see how your podcast explodes. This is exciting.
Thank you. I appreciate that.